Catapult Festival is the National Youth Circus Festival, but it's not just, that's not all it is. It's also a meeting point between adult professional performers and young, emerging youth circus performers. It's been a changing role. Initially it was as the artistic director of the festival, but as the festival's grown, it's a wonderful thing. We now have a national artistic directorate, so youth circus leaders from around the country are the artistic director of the festival. What my role now is to be one of the local committee members to make sure that we put the grants in, that we support the festival within BMAC and within the Bathurst community. It started we started organising the first festival in 2004, but the first festival was in 2005. It was in September 2005. It was an extremely cold year, and in the parade it was even sleeting and snowing around Bathurst, so it was a very cold start to the festival, but it certainly warmed up indoors. And it was a collaboration between members of Charles Sturt University, staff and students, members of BMAC, staff, and people from the broader community. The first three festivals were every 2 years, so we had 2005, 2007 and 2009. But after the 2009 festival, youth circus trips from around the country requested that we move it to the even year, so we'd avoid clashes with some other events. So we moved it to 2012. We also moved it from September, which was a little bit cold, to March, which is hopefully a little bit warmer. Well, the real core aim of the festival is to bring the young performers from around the country, because they generally don't get a chance to meet each other, to mix with adult professional performers. They're usually, even in capital cities, the youth circus trips are quite isolated. They just know the other members of their troupe. But that's certainly the case for regional and remote youth circus performers. So the main aim was to bring them together, but it's also very much a festival for the Bathurst community, and there are lots of performances that they can join in as well. And increasingly it's become something for local school groups to attend, watch shows and then do workshops. I think it's been successful because the philosophy of the festival, understanding that young people who are not yet professional performers don't have money to travel and pay for accommodation, the festival has used all of the funds that it can raise from sponsorship or grants to assist those young people to come to the festival. And that's meant that young people from all around Australia have wanted to do that. A lot of people have, some of the professional performers that have performed at Catapult they came here as individuals and now they're working as duos and groups. One of the youth troupes that came to the last Catapult Festival, they're called Gravity and Other Myths. They were launched really at the last Catapult Festival. They went on to win Best Physical Performers at the Adelaide Festival Fringe 2 years running, and they're now in high demand all around the country. I'm not sure if I've performed as MC. I've never actually performed as a physical performer. I'm basically too old for it now. I think that people will see an answer to that at this Catapult Festival. There's a group called Cassis who have emerged from Circus in Brisbane, and then later in the year Circus themselves are coming here, and I think they're a troupe that show what the future of circus is. And it's moving away from just being tricks. It's really blending circus skill with dance skill and even with theatrical skill. It's telling an emotional story through physical performance, which a pure skill act doesn't do. So I guess circus is merging with other physical forms. This Catapult Festival in 2012, we do have one project running parallel to the festival called the Merging Emerging Artists program, and that's bringing 12 of the top young circus and physical theatre and dance performers from around the country to work together on a project for 10 days. Those young people did put in a submission, and the committee, the national committee, selected those 12 people from a much larger group. The other participants in the festival, the sort of the core of the festival, youth circus troupes register. We ask them to, we sort of put a cap on how many can come so it becomes manageable, but it's basically by negotiation backwards and forwards with the youth troupes that are interested in coming. It was a long time ago, but the greatest achievement was being a member of Circus Oz in its first year in its first years, because those years we didn't really take a salary. We ploughed all the money that we had back into the company, and to see that company still existing today and other companies, physical theatre and circus companies, growing in Australia and benefiting from that development has been really heartening. Touch wood, I haven't. No, I have torn a few muscles, torn a few torn hamstrings, that sort of thing, but nothing major. No, I always loved physical activity and sport, and the sport that I loved the most was surfing, and I grew up at the beach, and I think that surfing helped me to build the upper body strength and the sense of balance that was useful for circus. And I then bumped into Circus Oz. They'd done one show, and I was a student at an acting student, and I sort of fell into the circus, and I've stayed there ever since. We looked at that and we asked people around the country, and they said no. Bathurst is part of the reason that Catapult exists. It's part of what's important about Catapult is that all the links to circus that exist in Bathurst. So as far as we know for the future, it's staying in Bathurst. People have come from all around Australia and even overseas to observe the Catapult Festival. So. The difference, one of the main differences is that the content of the festival, the program of the festival, has been chosen by people around the country. We haven't, in festivals before this one, we chose the program here in Bathurst, and then they came and found out what it was going to be like. But this one, we've consulted them throughout the development of this program. The other differences this year are that we have that Merging Emerging Artists program, which is really exciting, and we have another program called Circus Mob, which is to develop an Aboriginal circus troupe in the Bathurst region, and it'll be exciting to see if that's successful. Only that if you don't come and have a look at what's going on, you're absolutely crazy, in the wrong way.